Leila Hormozi used assistants to scale her portfolio to $100 million without burning out. And today, I'm going to be revealing Leila Hormozi's full hiring strategy. This is the exact strategy that allowed her to focus on high-leverage tasks, while her assistants handled everything else, helping her build multiple successful companies. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to find, hire, and keep an assistant who can literally double your income while giving back half your time.
I was kind of thinking about this the other day because I've helped, I think 4 CEOs in the last 3 months find executive assistants. And I like doing this because it's something that I feel deeply passionate about, because my executive assistant is like my favorite person in the entire world.
Right here, Leila is revealing something most entrepreneurs miss completely. She's not just using an assistant for basic tasks, she's built such a powerful partnership that her assistant became her favorite person in the world. That's the level of impact we're talking about when you get this right.
When we were starting Gym Launch, for the first year, Alex and I were flying out to gyms, to different locations, et cetera, and then we switched our model to basically a consulting model. And then when we did that, that shifted in, I want to say it was like March or April, and then I hired my executive assistant in October of that year.
Notice the timeline here. Leila didn't hire an assistant when she was just starting out. She waited until the business model stabilized and she had proven revenue. This is crucial. Timing matters when bringing on this level of support.
Pretty much at that point, I was doing everything in the business. So I think that we had 4 other employees. I think we had like tech support, customer support, billing, and another billing person. And then it was me and Alex. And so we really didn't have anybody. And at that point, I was finance, HR, IT, customer success, customer service. Like, I was doing everything.
This is the exact breaking point where most successful entrepreneurs find themselves. You've got revenue, you've got some basic team members, but you're still the bottleneck for everything important. You're drowning in tasks that aren't moving the needle forward.
And I was like, I don't even know who to hire, because I just need someone that can help me do all of this, because I have just a shit ton of stuff I'm doing, and whatever this role is, it's going to change really quickly. And so after thinking about it a lot, I was like, I really think that I want to get an executive assistant.
Here's the key insight. Leila didn't try to hire specialists for each function. She realized she needed one adaptable person who could handle multiple evolving responsibilities. This is why most entrepreneurs get assistant hiring completely wrong. Now, here's where Leila's approach gets really interesting. Most people think about assistants as task doers, but Leila understood something deeper.
The one thing I will say is that if you're considering getting an EA, it is a role that you should consider a little bit more than you would with any other role, which is this. When I was hiring for that role, I realized 2 things, which is 1, I cannot train this person. I can give them context, and I can communicate, and I can work on our relationship, but I don't know what they're supposed to do.
This is brilliant self-awareness. Most entrepreneurs think they can just wing it and figure out the assistant role as they go. But Leila realized that if you've never had an assistant, you literally don't know what good looks like.
And so I should probably hire someone who has more experience than I do, right? I don't want to hire somebody who's never done it before, because neither of us know what we're doing.
This flies in the face of conventional wisdom about saving money on entry-level hires. Leila understood that for this specific role, experience isn't just helpful, it's essential. You need someone who can teach you how to work effectively with an assistant while they handle the execution.
The second thing I took into consideration is that I wanted somebody who I would hang out with, even if they weren't my executive assistant. And the reason for that is because if you do this relationship correctly, it will be the one role that helps you accelerate past all the other bottlenecks in the business, because this person's got your back.
Most hiring advice focuses on skills and qualifications. But Leila went deeper. She understood that your assistant becomes an extension of yourself. If you don't genuinely enjoy working with them, the relationship will never reach its full potential. Now let's talk about the math that changes everything.
Say you take home $4 million per year, and you're working 60 hours per week. That's like $1,390 per hour that you're making, okay? So you're making $1,390 per hour, okay? If you can get an EA, most EAs on average, I think the stats were, the average EA can get about a little over half your hours back for you for each week. So say that person gets you 35 hours back, right?
Let me break this down, because this calculation is mind-blowing. At $4 million annual income, working 60 hours per week, your time is worth $1,390 per hour. If an assistant gets you back 35 hours weekly, that's $48,650 worth of your time every single week. But here's what's really interesting. This math works even at much lower income levels. If you're making $200,000 annually, your hourly rate is about $67. Get back 35 hours weekly, that's $2,345 in time value, or over $122,000 annually. If a good assistant costs $45,000 to $100,000 per year,
35 times 1390 is you're going to make $2.3 million more dollars, or have back the time from that $2.3 million to make more opportunity, to make more money if you hire an executive assistant.
you're literally losing money by not making this hire. The opportunity cost is staggering. You're not just paying for tasks to get done, you're buying back your highest value time to focus on activities that only you can do.
I think that the reality is that we make a lot of excuses for why we don't want to hire for this role. The reality is it's a hard role to freaking hire for. And so we're like, oh, I don't know. But it's like you're vulnerable because this person's all up in your fucking personal space. They know everything about you.
Leila is calling out the real reason most entrepreneurs resist this hire. It's not about the money, it's about vulnerability. This person will have access to your passwords, bank accounts, personal schedule, and maybe even business secrets. That level of trust terrifies most control-oriented entrepreneurs. But that vulnerability is exactly what makes the relationship so powerful. When someone truly has your back at that level, they can anticipate and solve problems before they even reach your desk. Now let's dive into Leila's 5 non-negotiable criteria for hiring the right person.
One is that you want someone who anticipates your needs. Okay, so my executive assistant, for example, if I tell her that I'm like, man, next week is looking kind of rough, or if I look at my schedule, and sometimes I'll look at my schedule 3 weeks out, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, this looks terrible. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to make this work. I look 2 days later and she's already changed it for me.
This is the difference between a task executor and a true assistant. Leila doesn't have to give specific instructions. She just mentions a problem exists, and her assistant proactively solves it. This level of anticipation only comes from someone who truly understands how you work and what you need.
Okay, so she looks at my schedule knowing how I work and how I like to plan my days. She can already go and move things because she knows when she looks at it and she's looking months ahead for me, she's like, that wouldn't work for Leila.
Notice how her assistant isn't just managing tasks. She's protecting Leila's energy and optimizing her performance. She knows Leila's patterns well enough to make decisions on her behalf.
The second to that is that you need someone who's resourceful. Because if someone wants to anticipate needs and wants to take care of things ahead of time, right, before the problem is there, make sure that they prevent something from happening, then you want someone who's resourceful. And what that means is you want someone who can interact with your team, interact with vendors, use Google, use Yahoo.
Resourcefulness is what separates good assistants from great ones. You want someone who can solve problems independently, using whatever tools and connections they need. They should come to you with solutions, not problems.
And you are the last resort. So they should not come to you first, they should come to you last because they've exhausted all their other resources.
This is crucial. If your assistant is constantly interrupting you with questions, they're creating more work, not less. A truly effective assistant only escalates issues that genuinely require your input.
The third one is you want an executive assistant to reflect your values in their communication. Okay, so I'll give you the example with my EA, which is if I get an email and I cannot respond to that email immediately, but I want them to know I've received it because I think it's rude to just leave an email unanswered for more than 12 to 24 hours.
Your assistant becomes an extension of your personal brand. Every email they send, every call they take, every interaction they have reflects directly on you. They need to embody your communication style and values naturally.
I also consider myself to be a fast communicator, meaning I don't make people wait long for me to get back to them on Slack, Asana, email, etc. I just think that that's not, I think the job of the CEO is to be fast and to set the tone. And so, you know what she does? She's fast, if not faster than me.
This is why cultural fit matters so much. Leila's assistant doesn't just follow instructions about response times, she genuinely shares Leila's values around communication speed and quality.
The fourth thing is that they can take on random projects and tasks. And what I mean by this is, anything that you would take on as a random project or task because somebody else on one of your teams cannot do it, they must be able to take that on.
Adaptability is what makes an assistant different from any other role. They need to be willing and able to jump into whatever needs handling, even if it's completely outside their normal scope.
And my EA jumped in and said, listen, I'll work the weekend. I want to learn it. It's better for me and I'll learn more about the company. And so she got in there and she learned it in like a few hours and worked the whole weekend just to fill the stop.
This attitude of ownership and willingness to do whatever it takes is what separates exceptional assistants from good ones. They see gaps and fill them without being asked.
And then last is you want someone who's tech savvy. Most people who watch this channel are virtual and online businesses. So what I have noticed is that there's been a few people I know who have hired executive assistants who were fantastic executive assistants 20 years ago. But They were not accustomed to doing things online.
In today's digital world, technical fluency is not optional. Your assistant needs to be comfortable with whatever software stack you use and quick to learn new tools as your business evolves. If you're starting to see how this level of support could transform your business, I've put together a comprehensive guide that breaks down 50 specific tasks you can delegate to an assistant. It includes templates and processes that have taken me years to develop. You can grab it free in the description. It'll save you months of trial and error figuring out what to delegate and how. But finding the right person is only half the equation. The other half is creating an environment where they can actually succeed, and this is where most entrepreneurs completely drop the ball.
How do you actually keep that person? Because here's the thing, a good executive assistant is going to have a billion other people that want to work with them.
This is so important. Great assistants are rare and highly sought after. If you don't create the right working relationship, they will leave for someone who appreciates their value.
Here's the fucking reality, is that if you actually want to make this work, you have to put in effort. You cannot just let them figure it all out. You have to learn how to communicate like a fucking human.
Leila is being brutally honest here. Most entrepreneurs think they can just hire an assistant and wash their hands of responsibility. But the relationship requires intentional communication and leadership skills that many of us frankly lack.
When in reality, if you just set expectations, right? You set expectations in the beginning, you communicate frequently and effectively, meaning you talk to your EA, you don't ignore them, let them sit in the corner, you talk to your EA all the time, and then you give them feedback regularly. Then it's rock solid.
These three elements, clear expectations, frequent communication, and regular feedback, form the foundation of every successful assistant relationship. Skip any of these and the relationship will struggle.
When I interviewed my EA, I first said to her when we were on the phone, I said, listen, I'm like a golden retriever. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. I barely know how to be a CEO. I certainly don't know what an executive assistant is supposed to do. I made the job description. I hope this is it. I just need help.
This vulnerability was actually Leila's secret weapon. By being honest about her limitations, she created space for her assistant to step up and lead in areas where she had more experience.
And she said, Leila, I got this. I know what an executive assistant is supposed to do. You don't need to worry about that. I'm going to onboard myself, and I just need you to communicate with me what you want. And I was like, got it. I can do that.
Notice how this honesty created immediate trust and clear role definition. The assistant could focus on what she did best, while Leila focused on communication and direction.
The reality is, what I have done and what I teach people to do and what I suggest that you do is that they are first. You communicate with them first, and then they communicate with everybody else. That is how you make them an incredibly valuable member of the team. In fact, your most valuable employee.
To some, this communication hierarchy may be counterintuitive, but it's crucial. Your assistant can't be effective if they're always the last to know what's happening. They need to be in the information loop before everyone else, so they can manage everything else effectively.
And so I do. I talk to her more than anybody else on the team. I talk to her every day, and I talk to her multiple times throughout the day.
Most entrepreneurs resist this level of communication because they think it defeats the purpose. But Leila understood that frequent communication upfront creates massive efficiency and independence down the road.
I've made this mistake from time to time where, Alex and I have decided on new initiatives, and every once in a while I'll kind of just forget to tell her. And then she kind of say, then my executive assistant will start asking, and then I'm like, oh shit, I didn't tell you, right? And I should have looped you in sooner.
Even Leila communication mistakes sometimes. The key is recognizing when it happens and course correcting quickly. Your assistant needs to understand the context behind decisions to execute effectively.
Give them good feedback and give them critical feedback. And so I always want to point out when my executive assistant is doing things I like, when she's done something above and beyond that I'm like, I love that you did that. I'm so excited. That was creative. It was innovative. I love it. And I also want to be like, hey, you did this time. Next time I prefer you did this instead.
The feedback component is where most assistant relationships either thrive or die. You need both positive reinforcement for what's working and constructive feedback and constructive guidance for improvement. Without this, your assistant is flying blind.
Like when I'm staying in a hotel and I want to make sure I have a mini fridge and a good gym, and maybe there's not a mini fridge, a good gym, or maybe there's no coffee maker, I sound like in my head, this is ridiculous, but I would like her to know the next time I just would prefer if it actually had a coffee maker and a fridge in the room.
This example perfectly illustrates why most assistant relationships fail. Entrepreneurs feel silly communicating their preferences, so they suffer in silence instead of just telling their assistant what they actually want. Your assistant wants to do a good job. They just need to know what good looks like to you.
You have to be able to communicate those things and not feel silly or stupid or like you're asking for too much because they want to do a good job for you, right? And if you would do it for yourself, then you should ask them to do it for you.
This mindset shift is everything. If something matters enough for you to handle personally, it matters enough to delegate with clear instructions. The truth is, building a successful assistant relationship isn't about finding a unicorn person who magically knows how to support you. It's about creating systems and communication patterns that allow any good assistant to excel in your specific environment. Most entrepreneurs spend their days reacting to urgent tasks instead of working on important strategic initiatives. Email, scheduling, administrative tasks, and putting out fires consume the majority of their time, while the high-impact work that actually grows the business gets pushed to evenings and weekends. An assistant completely flips this equation. Suddenly, you're spending your peak energy hours on strategy, business development, and high-level decision-making, while everything else gets handled seamlessly behind the scenes. But here's what most people miss. This isn't just about task delegation. A great assistant becomes your strategic partner. They understand your business well enough to make decisions on your behalf. They protect your time by filtering what actually needs your attention. They anticipate problems and solve them before they become crises. The key is approaching this hire with the right expectations. You're not just hiring someone to answer emails and book travel. You're bringing someone into your inner circle who will know your business as well as you do and represent you in countless interactions. That's why Leila's criteria are so specific. Technical skills can be taught, but judgment, cultural fit, and the ability to think strategically cannot. You need someone who shares your values and can represent them authentically in every interaction. The communication piece cannot be overstated. Your assistant becomes your chief of staff, your business partner, your right hand. If you're not willing to invest in frequent, open communication, you'll just create frustration for both of you. Start with small delegations if you need to build trust gradually. That's totally fine. Maybe begin with calendar management and email filtering. But as the relationship develops and they learn your preferences, gradually expand their responsibilities until they're handling everything that doesn't require your specific input. The goal isn't just to get tasks off your plate, it's to fundamentally change how you spend your time so you can focus exclusively on the work that only you can do.
If we are effective communicators and we know how to effectively utilize an executive assistant and find the one that we need and find the right kind of person, like I described in this video, there's no way that they are not going to be effective on your team, especially if you're a small team, especially if you have a ton to do, especially if you're growing quickly.
Here's what Leila's really saying. This isn't about finding some unicorn person. It's about creating the right systems and communication patterns that allow any good assistant to thrive in your business. The math alone should convince you. If you're making 6 figures or more, you literally cannot afford not to have this role filled. But beyond the math, it's about buying back your time to focus on what actually moves the needle for your business. That comprehensive guide I mentioned breaks down exactly which tasks to start delegating first, along with templates and processes that will save you months of trial and error. The link is in the description. It honestly transformed how I think about delegation and will give you a concrete roadmap for implementing everything Leila talked about. What's been your biggest challenge with delegation so far? Drop a comment below and let me know what's holding you back from making this hire. And if this breakdown opened your eyes to what's possible with the right assistant, smash that like button and subscribe for more strategies that actually move the needle in your business. Thank you and see you next time.